All right, Bill, thanks. Today, some people living in Scott County filed a lawsuit seeking to remove a local candidate for circuit judge from the November ballot. It's because he's married to the Commonwealth's attorney in the same circuit. Now, it's a job that pays $140,000 a year.
Our LEX 18 Investigates team was already looking into the matter to see how and if it could work. Evening Edition's Lee Searcy breaks down what she uncovered.
Can a husband and wife be judge and prosecutor in the same courthouse? That's the question in Scott, Woodford, and Bourbon counties, where circuit judge candidate Rob Johnson, who used to be a judge there, is married to the Commonwealth's attorney Sharon Muse Johnson, seen here on his election Facebook page.
This took place early Sunday morning.
Her office prosecutes all felony criminal cases. That means ethically he couldn't oversee those cases. So can he still do the job? He says so, and so did his wife in this previous interview.
I never appear in front of him. We have two divisions. I stay in one, he stays in the other. Our paths don't cross. There's no conflict.
In other words, she said her husband could oversee all the civil cases like lawsuits, debt collections, and property disputes, while the other judge, Jeremy Maddox, would cover all the criminal cases such as robberies and murders. By the numbers, there are more civil filings, but criminal matters take longer, according to workload trends by the Administrative Office of the Courts that showed judges in the 14th Circuit spent significantly more time on criminal cases from 2017 to 2019.
So what happens if one of the circuit's two judges can't touch any criminal case? We're talking about hearings, trials, even the signing of warrants.
I shudder to think the mess that will be created if that conflict comes to fruition.
That's Kenton County Commonwealth's attorney, Rob Sanders. He's one of several legal professionals we talked to who say it would be complicated and possibly expensive if a judge had to opt out of an entire category of cases and a special judge had to fill in at up to $400 a day.
Citizens of the 14th Circuit are entitled to two fully functional circuit court divisions, and that's what they should get.
Possibly complicating matters, a recent change in the circuit's local rules put in writing the long-standing practice that each judge shall handle both civil and criminal cases. It was requested by Maddox, the judge that could be left handling all the criminal cases should Johnson be elected. We asked Johnson how he could work under the rule. He declined to speak on camera, but said in text messages that it would not prohibit him from serving and that he would, quote, preside over the cases, then apply the appropriate rules of judicial ethics to evaluate how each case should be handled.
This way, whether it's son, daughter, whoever it is, and that person holds a certain position of power as a district attorney, the judge can't preside over those cases. That's clear, that's ethics 101.
That's Bennett Gershman, a law professor at Pace University in New York, who lectures on judicial and prosecutorial ethics. We wanted to get an outside perspective. When we asked Johnson if it was practical to have to recuse himself from all criminal cases involving his wife's office, he didn't answer the question, but told me he can, quote, fully discharge the duties of his office.
I mean, it seems to me that the voters should at least know that this judge is going to be, let's just say, handicapped because of his inability to preside over criminal cases.
We were curious if there's another circumstance like this in the state. In an email, the Administrative Office of the Courts says there are currently no judges on the bench who are conflicted out of an entire category of cases on a continual basis. At the end of the day, one former Supreme Court Justice, Daniel Venters, says the complexities don't matter. It'll have to work.
Once the voters choose who the judge will be, then the court system is obligated to accommodate that choice.
In the end, voters will decide who ends up on the bench.
So Johnson does have an opponent. She's Katie Gabbard, who is currently the appointed circuit court judge there. This is her first time serving as judge. Gabhart says she's running to ensure ethics, impartiality, and fairness. She comes from the Executive Branch Ethics Commission in state government. As for Rob Johnson, he's a familiar face in the circuit. He was a circuit judge there for 12 years. He's running on his experience. He also served 2 years on the Kentucky Court of Appeals before returning as an assistant Commonwealth's attorney in his wife's office. Back to you.
We received a statement late this afternoon from Johnson. His statement says the lawsuit filed today is an attempt to direct voter attention away from the heart of the election, which he says is trial experience. He went on to say the Kentucky Judicial Ethics Commission has already concluded he can be the circuit judge with his wife as the Commonwealth's attorney.
You can read his full statement on our website, lex18.com.